Hello and welcome back. If your age is starting to show on you and you find yourself thinking that you're too old to learn all this stuff, consider this. In 2022, Joyce Defoe got her bachelor's degree from Northern Illinois University over 7 decades after she first stepped on that campus. She earned her bachelor's degree in general studies. And in 2016, Japan's Shakami Harada set the Guinness's Book of World Records by obtaining his Bachelor's of Arts degree from the Cato University of Art and Design at age 96. Learning new things actually improves your memory. So the more we learn, the more we are able to remember. Learning new things actually improves our memory. So the more we learn, the more we're able to remember. Are you ready to learn? Well, let's get started. This video is Lesson 5, Part 3 of my Amateur Radio Technician Class License course covering the 2022 to 2026 question pool. I'm Gary Stevens, your instructor. I've been an amateur operator since 2001. In 2014, I earned my Amateur Extra license, and I've been teaching amateur radio for over 15 years. My call sign is Kilo Echo 2 Gulf Sierra. The T5 section covers electrical principles. On your randomly generated exam, you will be asked 4 questions from this sub-element. There are 4 groups in this section with 52 questions total. This lesson covers T5C, capacitance and inductance terminology and units, radio frequency definition and units, impedance definition and units, and calculating power. Before we get started, we need to review the metric prefixes used for this exam. Pay special attention to the fact that the 2 largest symbols are capitalized and the smaller ones are lowercase. The only exception is that micro uses the symbol mu. We need to remember that capacitance is the ability to store energy in an electric field. A capacitor is an electronic device that stores energy in an electric field. It is a simple device that's basically 2 metallic plates surrounded by non-conductive or a dielectric material. This diagram shows a capacitor being used as a noise filter for a DC power line source. On the exam, you might be asked this question. What describes the ability to store energy in an electric field? A, inductance, B, resistance, C, tolerance, D, capacitance. The answer you should pick is D, capacitance. We need to know that a farad is a unit of capacitance. 1 farad is defined as the capacitance across which there is a potential difference of 1 volt when charged with 1 coulomb. Its name is in honor of the English physicist Michael Faraday. What we might see on the exam is this question. What is the unit of capacitance? A, the farad, B, the ohm, C, the volt, D, the Henry. The correct answer being A, the farad. Understand that inductance describes the ability to store energy in a magnetic field. Inductors are commonly coils of copper wire wrapped around a form made of ferrous materials. It can also be around a dielectric or even air. The number of turns of wire and the type of material determine the value of the inductor. The exam question might be this. What describes the ability to store energy in a magnetic field? A, admittance, B, capacitance, C, resistance, or D, inductance? The answer is, of course, D, inductance. We need to know that the Henry is the unit of inductance. The unit Henry, whose symbol is the capital H, is named after the American scientist who independently discovered electromagnetic induction, Joseph Henry. The associated question is, what is the unit of inductance? A, the coulomb, B, the farad, C, the Henry, or D, the ohm? The answer is, of course, C, the Henry. You need to know that the ohm is the unit of impedance. Oliver Heaviside was an English self-taught electrical engineer, mathematician, and physicist who coined the term impedance. Impedance is the effective resistance of an electric circuit or component of alternating current arising from the combined effects of ohmic resistance and reactance. It is measured in ohms. On the exam, you could see this question. What is the unit of impedance? The volt, the ampere, the coulomb, or the ohm? The answer being D, the ohm. You absolutely need to know that the abbreviation RF means radio frequency signals of all types. In this slide, we can see all the bands in the RF spectrum. Typically, with a technician license, you will only likely encounter the HF, VHF, and UHF bands. Our exam question is this. What does the abbreviation RF mean? A, radio frequency signals of all types. B, the resonant frequency of a tuned circuit. C, the real frequency transmitted as opposed to the apparent frequency. Or D, reflective forces in antenna transmission lines. The correct answer, of course, is A, radio frequency signals of all types. Understand that capital M, capital H, lowercase z is the abbreviation for megahertz. Hertz is the derived unit of frequency and is defined as 1 cycle per second. It was named after Heinrich Rudolf Hertz, a German physicist who first conclusively proved the existence of electromagnetic waves. We use the symbol capital H, lowercase z for Hertz. The question you might see is this. What is the abbreviation for megahertz? A, capital M, capital H. B, lowercase m, lowercase h. C, capital M, lowercase h, lowercase z. Or D, capital M, capital H, lowercase z. The answer, of course, is D, capital M, capital H, lowercase z. The formula used to calculate electrical power, P, in a DC circuit is P equals I times E. I want you to memorize the image on the left. When you take the exam, write it down on your piece of scratch paper. It is an aid to help you solve problems involving power. The formula of power as we know it is power, P, equals current, I, multiplied by voltage, E, or P equals I times E. You might get this question on your test. What is the formula used to calculate electrical power, P, in a DC circuit? A, P equals I times E. B, P equals E divided by I. C, P equals E minus I. Or P equals I plus E. The answer, as you know it, is P equals I times E. Pi. Remember pi for power. We need to know that 138 watts of power is delivered by a voltage of 13.8 volts DC and a current of 10 amperes. The exam question wants us to calculate power. We are given 13.8 volts DC and a current of 10 amperes. If you use the aid that I showed you, all you need to do is cover what you were solving for with your finger. In this case, we are solving for power and can see that I times E equals power. So if we multiply 13.8 volts by 10 amps, we have 138 watts. Note that amps is the abbreviation for amperes. Our question is this: how much power is delivered by a voltage of 13.8 volts DC and a current of 10 amperes? A, 138 watts, B, 0.7 watts, C, 23.8 watts, or D, 3.8 watts. The correct answer is A, 138 watts. We need to know that 30 watts of power is delivered by a voltage of 12 volts DC and a current of 2.5 amperes. The problem is just like the one we had in the previous slide. We are given 12 volts and 2.5 amps. We know our formula by placing a finger over the P. After we know that, it's simple math. 12 volts times 2.5 volts is 30 watts. The question you might get is this: how much power is delivered by a voltage of 12 volts DC and a current of 2.5 amperes? A, 4.8 watts, B, 30 watts, C, 14.5 watts, or D, 0.208 watts. The correct answer is B, 30 watts. Know that 10 amperes is the current that is required to deliver 120 watts at a voltage of 12 volts DC. In this question, we are given the power value and the voltage. And using our aid, we place our finger over the I since we're solving for current. We see that the P is over the E. That means we divide the P by the E. If we divide 120 watts by 12, we are given the current value of 10 amps. This question may be on your exam. How much current is required to deliver 120 watts at a voltage of 12 volts DC? A, 0.1 amperes, D, 10 amperes, C, 12 amperes, or D, 132 amperes. The correct answer is B, 10 amperes. We should understand that impedance is the opposition to AC current flow. The symbol for impedance is Z, and it is expressed in ohms. As you might guess, there is a math involved in this calculation of impedance. The good news is you don't need to know it for your exam. Just remember that impedance is the opposition to AC current flow. The exam question looks like this. What is impedance? A, the opposition of AC current flow. B, the inverse of resistance. C, the Q or quantity factor of a component. Or D, the power handling capacity of the component. The answer you should put is A, the opposition of AC current flow. You need to remember that lowercase k, capital H, lowercase z is the abbreviation for kilohertz. Notice how often the metric prefixes keep popping up. Have you gotten a hint that you should memorize them? We know that the symbol for hertz is capital H, lowercase z. You should also have memorized that the lowercase k means kilo. The exam question you might see this. What is the abbreviation for kilohertz? A, capital K, capital H, capital Z. B, lowercase k, lowercase h, lowercase z. C, lowercase k, lowercase h, uppercase z. Or D, lowercase k, capital H, lowercase z. The correct answer is D, lowercase k, uppercase h, and lowercase z. This is the end of Lesson 5, Part 3. If you're having trouble memorizing formulas, prefixes, and symbols, you might get yourself some index cards or an index card app to use as a study aid. There are also many memorization strategies you can find using a web search. The important thing is you find a way that works for you. If what you are doing isn't floating your boat, try something different. Not everyone's brain is wired the same. Think of memorization techniques as the key to your brain. Your key may not work on other brains and vice versa. Until next time, my friends, never stop learning.